At the New Jersey SBDC Network, our mission is simple: to help businesses grow and succeed. Our consulting, training, and information services make it easier for businesses to reach their potential. Whether you're currently in operation or just starting out, we have the right tools, resources, and expertise to help you succeed. Visit us online to get started on your path to success today.
A pleasant good afternoon to everyone. My name is Takoa Bell. I am an event coordinator for the NJSBDC at Rutgers-Newark. And on behalf of Dr. Tendai Ndoro, the regional director, I would like to welcome you all to our Analyzing Market Opportunities for Revenue Growth webinar. For those of you here that are unfamiliar with the SBDC, it stands for Small Business Development Centers. And here at the New Jersey Small Business Development Centers at Rutgers-Newark, we serve as the premier provider of business training and technical assistance services to establish small businesses, startups, and as well as to entrepreneurs. We are one of 12 centers in the NJSBDC network, and we service those in Essex County. Our center is hosted by the Rutgers Business School and is funded through a public-private partnership agreement between the Small Business Administration, Rutgers University, and the New Jersey Business Action Center. Our mission here is to help entrepreneurs as well as business owners start and grow sustainable, successful businesses through the delivery of one-on-one business consulting, training, and technical assistance programs. Now, these services are provided to you at no cost and are paid for by your tax dollars. So if you or your business is located in Essex County, our website is www.rnsbdc.com. It is located on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, where you can request counseling. And on the top right-hand corner of our website, there is a button labeled Request Counseling. And clicking on that button will lead you to fill out information, including the help you are seeking with your business. And within 24 to 48 business hours, a consultant will reach out to you for an assessment. For those of you that are not in Essex County, our other website is www.njsbdc.com. And on this website, you can type in your county and it will refer you to your local SBDC office. For the benefit of everyone attending today's webinar, the audio has been muted at the time. We will be taking questions via the Q&A feature here on Zoom, and you are free to unmute yourself during any time to ask your questions as well. We also do encourage you to put on your video if you are able to. That will just help us to have a little bit more interaction during the webinar. But if you're not comfortable with doing so, please feel free to post your questions in the chat or the Q&A feature, and we will respond during or at the end of the webinar. A copy of the presentation slides, along with a video recording of this webinar, will be emailed to you within 48 to 72 business hours within the end of the presentation. So you can refer to this information and the video long after the webinar has ended. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you our presenter for today's presentation, Andrew Fraser. Andrew is the CEO and owner of Small Business Like a Pro, and is an SBDC consultant here at the NJSBDC at Rutgers-Newark in the areas of finances, capital, loan packaging, and credit counseling. Now, without further ado, I will turn today's presentation over to Andrew.
Great, thanks, Takoa. How you doing, everybody? Welcome this afternoon, and thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with me. Let's see what we can do. So let me just share this. Okay, and so once again, welcome. I'm excited about having a little bit of opportunity to hang out with you this afternoon. We're going to cover a very important topic. We're going to talk about analyzing market opportunities for revenue growth. And really, you know, it's important at any time, but it's even more important now because you really have to be proactive to be able to survive, and not just survive, but thrive in this business environment. So we're going to talk about how do you do that? what are key strategies, and what should your perspective be in order to strive and thrive and not just survive and make more money in any business environment? Great. It seems like we have a great group of people here, and definitely one thing I like to do is try to tailor and customize our talk based on who's in the room. So definitely, as Priscilla said, feel free to turn on your video. It just makes a little bit more lively and interactive. But if you can, I'd like to know who's already in business and who's not in business yet. So if you're in business, type in business. If not, type not yet in the chat, please. And just to get a feel for who we have in the room and be able to do that. Okay, thanks, Ralph. Great. How about you guys? Okay, Charles is raising your hand. Okay, not in business yet. Okay. Yep. Okay. Francis in business. Great. Tanisha startup. Okay. Charles, you want to ask a question, or feel free to unmute if you want to ask a question. I see your hand up. Okay. Tanisha, innocent. Okay. Great. Okay. So we got, okay, in business, startup. All right. So we got a good cross section of people. So that's great. That's great. So we're going to cover things for both, and I'll make sure to give examples and talk through in terms of both people in business and not yet in business. So great. If you're ready, we can get started. So if you're ready, just type ready in the chat, and then we'll get ready and get started with the presentation. So just let me know you're ready by typing that in the chat and keeping it. Okay, you guys are ready to go. Excellent, excellent. So let's start by talking a little bit about what we're going to do today. So, really today we're going to focus on analyzing new business trends. We're going to talk about preparing your business for growth, and we're going to talk about exploring new revenue opportunities. And that's really what you're going to learn about today, because those are three ways to grow your business opportunities and grow your revenue. Because first you have to analyze the trends to understand where the opportunities are. You need to prepare yourself, because if you're not prepared, then it's very difficult to execute. Today we're also going to learn about new trends that are going on in the marketplace right now. We're going to talk about exploring your strengths and your opportunities as a business owner, because it's important to go to your strengths and focus on them, and also match up your strengths with the opportunities that are available in the marketplace. And then just really assess your readiness for business growth. If there's things you need to put in place to be able to grow, you need to know what they are and figure them out beforehand. As you may know, a lot of businesses go out of business when they're growing, because they haven't quite put into place everything they need to grow successfully. And as a result, if you grow too fast and you don't have the structure you need, you can blow yourself up. So definitely, very important on that end as well. And because of this, because of what you're going to learn, you're going to be able to better examine trends that are impacting you and your industry and your customers. You'll be able to look at potential revenue streams, which ones could be good revenue streams, and also, should you work on expanding your current ones? And then finally, you'll know better what areas you need to do to focus on to be able to prepare for growth and successfully grow your business. So that's really what today's session is focused on and all about. So as Takao mentioned, on behalf of the Small Business Development Center of New Jersey, Rutgers-Newark. We're doing this presentation. Again, my name is Andrew Frazier, and I worked with SBDC for probably the last 5 to 7 years doing training and doing business counseling. So, definitely SBDC has some great programs, great opportunities. Definitely invite you to check them out. You can have an opportunity for free counseling and sit down with someone like me. We actually also have an upcoming business planning workshop that I'm sure Dakota is going to share with you as well, which is a great program. And I actually teach the finance and accounting sections of that. So again, my name's Andrew Frazier. Very long career and expertise. First business in 4th grade was a paper route in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Studied mechanical engineering at MIT and actually got a Navy ROTC scholarship. So I served as a U.S. naval officer and ran all the business functions for a ship. From there, I worked as a business manager in private business, got my MBA in finance and management at NYU, and worked for a Fortune 500 company in investments and finance, and obtained my CFA designation. Spent times as a corporate executive. I've done real estate investing. I've run a nonprofit, and as a business owner. But the last 12 years, I've focused on coaching, consulting, and training full time, and really worked with over 500 business owners one-on-one, and also taught thousands of people about business. So, expertise in teaching and training, and worked with so many business owners, I really saw a lot of patterns of challenges they faced, and really put that together over a 5-year period when I wrote my first book, Running Your Small Business Like a Pro. And, currently doing a lot of speaking and training, as well as coaching and consulting. So definitely where we are today is as we go. If you have questions, raise your hand, ask questions as we go. And we'll make this as much of a discussion as possible. So don't mind being interrupted, because if you're thinking about something, someone else is probably thinking about the same thing. Feel free to unmute and ask a question or put it in the chat. Actually, let me pull my chat up so I can see the chat. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, there's the chat. Okay. So book is Running Your Small Business Like a Pro. And but let's take a look at what we've got going on. So the first thing we're going to talk about is recognizing new business trends. So there's a lot going on these days, and in business, it has cycles. There's different industries, different types of businesses are cyclical, and also opportunities come when there's trends. So if we're going to recognize business trends, why should we do that? One, because it creates opportunities. Challenges create opportunities. Right now, a lot of businesses are facing a lot of challenges. Some are really having difficult times or going out of business, but there's others that are killing it, either because of what they're doing fits with the trends, it fits what's going on, or they're starting new businesses or going into new areas where there's a greater need. So understanding what's going on in the environment, where the challenges are, and what types of solutions you can potentially provide is key, so that you can be one of the winners and not the losers. Now, it's also a great time to start a business because of that, because you can really think about focusing your business in the right way, and where there's a good market. And also there's new problems that need solutions that there may not already be a solution or a good solution. So it's, you can get in there early rather than having to fight against established players in certain types of industries and niches. So what does it look like? What do the winners and the successful people look like? The first thing is they're proactive. They don't sit around waiting for things to happen. They're actively looking for things to happen and opportunities, and working really hard to just educate themselves and learn and understand. And I think that's one of the reasons why you're here as well. So definitely, this is one way to be proactive, learn things, seeking new opportunities, and continuing to be that. Another thing that the successful business owners are creative. You know, Given the changes that are going on, there's new challenges. So developing new solutions, being more flexible. In this day and age, because of technology, because of globalism, may be competing with really large businesses. And the only way you can do that is being more creative, delivering a better solution or a more personalized solution. And as a small business owner, you have an advantage as far as that, but you have to do that. And then the final thing is being more flexible. Also, as a small business, you can make decisions to be more flexible that other businesses may not be able to make as quickly. So responding to customer needs is key as well. So that's why you want to look at understanding the different trends and everything that's going on. So now that we know why, let's take a look. What are some of the trends? What's going on in the world? So there's really four key things that are happening now that are huge on a global scale and affecting businesses everywhere. So the first are the major trends in the current environment. So what do we have? Coronavirus. You probably don't want to hear about it anymore because you hear, it's been here. And so, but understanding the dynamics of that, what problems is it causing? What opportunities is it creating? So, understanding and taking into account the health crisis. But not only is coronavirus part of the health change, there's different moves towards healthier living, just re-examining what health and the health industry is, on personal and on a countrywide level. There's a financial crisis. Definitely, many people are not working the way they used to, and because of the fright crisis, a lot of states and local governments and even the federal government is really spending a lot of money that they don't have. So they're borrowing. Also, a lot of businesses, many of them aren't doing as well as they had before. So there has been a financial crisis, and after this is over, when we dig out, a lot of businesses, a lot of organizations, a lot of governments are going to have some financial challenges that they're going to have to deal with. And what is that going to mean for you and your business? So thinking about that now, what trends are there going, what trends do you expect based on that? Another thing is a human rights crisis. There's a lot of things going on. You probably see on TV last few days with the trial, and then another senseless murder out in Minneapolis. There's some serious human rights crisis going on. And it's not just here in the United States, in different countries and different nationalities, different economic classes, but there's a lot of human rights things going on, and understanding the trends of those and what the challenges are, what the needs are, can be helpful, and help what opportunities might be out there for you as well. And because of that, you want to think about those huge trends, but there's also a lot of other trends that are focused on maybe on a specific industry, a specific area. But as I mentioned, you have to be proactive, you have to be creative, and you have to be flexible and be able to pivot quickly. So let's take a look at some of the other trends that we want to look at. First, you want to pay close attention to your customers. Because of what's going on, it's easier to lose customers for a number of reasons. First, they have new problems to solve. So is there a way you can understand their new problems? Can you provide solutions for their new problems? Um, they may have a different level of demand for your products and services. They might not need them as much given what's going on, or they might need them more and more of them. So it's important to understand that trend so that you can address it. Um, so, sometimes the old problems may no longer be relevant. Um, so it's thinking about and maintaining your customers, because with your customers, it's key that you continue to do business with them as much as possible, because at the end of the day, it's much easier and less expensive to continue to do business with an existing customer than to try and get a new customer. So the first place to start is your current customers, making sure that they know that you're there, that you're able to provide the services that you used to provide, and also to find out if there's other things that you could provide of benefit to them. So that's really one of the key things. So is everyone kind of keeping up and understanding? Any questions? If you're good, we can continue moving on, but just type ready real quick in the chat so I know you're with me and that we can make sure we're on the same page. So definitely, if you have any questions, feel free to put that in the chat as well, or unmute and ask. But this part is key. So it looks like we're ready to go. So we're going to talk a little bit more about trends. So let's take a look. There's 4 areas where trends are really changing the way we live. Number 1 is at home, in our homes, and what we do with our home is key. The real estate market, if you're selling your house now, it's really strong. Of course, you have to find a new place to live if you sell. But my mom just sold her house in February, and I think she got like 25% over what she was asking. And that's crazy. But you hear that time and time again. So definitely on the home front. Also on the work front, work is different now. People and businesses are working from different places. And just different protocols. So things are changing at work. There may be challenges, there may be opportunities there. So how can your business benefit from that? Health and safety. Health and safety is way more higher on the priority list than it ever was. And there's different trends and different opportunities in that space. And then information and analysis. It's already been big coming up to the crisis, but it's even bigger now. So being able to, be in the information space, analysis space, there's a lot of room in terms of technology. So, so that's really what it's all about, is looking at things that are happening. So, again, on the home front, people are spending more time at home. People are working at home. People are at home a lot more. So they're, Amazon's killing it because people are ordering. Restaurants, restaurant industry is challenging, but there's a lot of restaurants that are doing better than ever through delivery. There's one Chinese restaurant in, I think it was in Long Island, and the owner, had one, but now he's got 12 because he's been, it just the end, his business and what he did in terms of being more proactive, in terms of making a pivot and focusing on being able to deliver more and quickly. Not only did he grow faster, but he was able to acquire, build up additional locations. Sharon, thanks for the comment. Definitely, massage industry is booming right now. Definitely a lot of stress, and probably not even just massage, but yoga. One thing that was happening, I was coaching a a physical trainer. And, she used to be in the gym and other stuff. She's gone virtual. And, early on in the crisis, one of the, you couldn't get exercise equipment. One of her specialties was the kettlebells. And you couldn't even buy a kettlebell because you couldn't find any for a period of time. So, you know, definitely many industries are booming, especially health and fitness related. So, thanks for your comments, Sharon. Um, on the work front, what's going on at work? A lot of businesses and people are working from home. With people working from home, there's additional needs, but then there's also things that you didn't need anymore. Um, my wife works for Prudential. Their business, they're huge in Gateway Center. Now nobody's there, and nobody's going to be there until to the fall. So think about all the businesses in there. You had Dunkin' Donuts, you got Subway, you got a lot of other businesses there that the majority of people who were their customers are no longer there. So what is it that they did? What is it that they could do to try and make up for that? And some ways you can, sometimes you can't, unfortunately. And then after the crisis, are people really going to come back? How are they going to come back? Are some of these trends permanent, or are some of these trends temporary? So, really understanding that is key as well. So, those are some of the key things about trends in the workplace. Health and safety, massage stress is up. Health insurance companies are killing it because people aren't, you know, wanting to be out in different, be out anymore in medical settings than they used to be. Especially in the hospitals, a lot of people have delayed different things, but that's going to pick up because there's going to be pent up demand as we come out of the crisis. So thinking about, workplace safety and health, there was a manufacturer of plexiglass that that was getting ready to go out of business before the crisis. Because of the crisis and because of the work areas and needing, the need for plexiglass, they've almost gone out of business to running 3 shifts a day and still not being able to keep up. So, figuring out where you fit and, what are the trends and, what are the micro trends? Where can you get in and provide a service or product that's needed in the marketplace? And then information and analysis. Definitely on the marketing side, there's a lot going on. Digital marketing is huge. Being able to, analyze and understand patterns and customers and different things that are going on. Also, just, content, media content is key. You can't get enough media content. I'm sure we've all watched mostly everything we wanted to see on Netflix and all the other stuff, but there's still more and more demand and need for new content and good content. So there's a lot of different spaces where there's, significant opportunity. So the trends, looking at the trends is the first step in, getting a feel for where there could be opportunities and for your business. So definitely that's key. Now we're going to explore a little bit about new revenue opportunities. So before we do that, any questions, any comments? If you're ready to move on to the new revenue opportunities, just type ready in the chat and, we'll go from there. Okay, thanks, April. You're ready. Tanisha, great. Susan, okay, all right. Okay, Sharon, okay. Cleon, thanks. And let's go. Hey, Kimberly, what's up? So let's make it happen. So exploring new revenue opportunities. So when you look at revenue opportunities, there's, I talked about, first you have to understand the trends. So we just talked about some of the key trends. And then you have to match up the trends and find out which of the trends create opportunities for you. And the opportunities come where the need fits with your strengths and what you can deliver. Because a trend is great, but if you can't deliver, then that's not an opportunity for your business. But where a trend meets your strength and your ability to deliver, that's really where the new revenue opportunities are for you. And everybody's different, everybody's in a different place. So we talked about key trends. We're going to talk about your personal strengths. Um, as a business owner, one of the most important things is your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take it. So understanding your capabilities, making sure that you're continually learning and continually developing. So we're going to talk about personal strengths. How do you figure out what they are? And then we also need to talk about business strengths. What are your strengths of your business? What capabilities does your business have to be able to take advantage of those opportunities? So when we combine your strengths and the trends, that is how you can identify the revenue opportunities. So let's start out talking a little bit about personal strengths, because that's key. So and actually, we're going to finish up a little bit with the trends, and then we'll go to the personal strengths and business strengths. So one of the ways to evaluate trends, and the first part is looking at you and your business. Okay. How has your business changed? Has your customer demand gone up? Has it gone down, or is it about the same? Also do that, what about your competition? Do you have more? Do you have less, or do you have about the same? How have your costs changed? Definitely supply chain, different things are costing more or costing less. So, have your variable costs gone up or gone down or about the same? So when we talk about variable costs, what we mean are the costs that are directly related to sales in your business. So these are, I like to give the example of, maybe you're a supermarket and you buy cans of soup for 50 cents. And so every time you sell a can of soup, you sell it for $1 and it costs you 50 cents. So your variable cost is 50 cents because every time you sell a can of soup, it's going to cost you 50 cents. And it has a direct relationship with sales. Every time your sales go up, your cost goes up as well. So that's what a variable cost is. So have they changed? But not only your variable costs, have your fixed costs changed? Has your rent changed? Have your utilities changed? Are they higher? Are they lower, or about the same? So fixed costs are really costs that you're going to have to pay whether or not you're making any sales. So, definitely understanding those as well is key. And then, is your current situation, is your business in a better spot now than it was before, a worse spot, or about the same? And then what do you expect for the future? Is it you expecting things to get better, improve, get worse, or be about the same? And by doing this, taking these key trends and looking at it in this way, it allows you to evaluate, where you are, what things are looking like, how you may need to pivot. If everything's positive, then you really need to just focus on what you're doing even more. If things are negative, you need to understand how they impact your business. Does that mean you have to change your pricing structure? Does that mean you need to look at ways to lower your costs? Does that mean you need to pivot and move into a different area? What, understanding, how the trends are affecting your business is key. So, because you have to know where you're starting from. So, looking at it, you can look at it that way. And then, for your business, each industry has different trends. So, for the restaurant industry, what's going on with the demand? There's probably more demand for delivery, but less demand for sit-down restaurants. Competition. is there more competition or less? It's probably less because there's less restaurants than there were when we started. How about your variable costs? Okay, are your food costs going up? Also, if you're delivering, you've got the delivery cost, so that's going up. If you're doing DoorDash, they charge you like 30%. So they take a lot. So your variable costs have gone way up. So understanding how that impacts your business model. Your fixed costs, they may be down. You have less employees probably. Uh, so you have some less costs on the fixed side. And, currently, depending on where you are and what type of restaurant, it could be good, it could be bad. And what's your outlook and expectation? So each industry, depending on what your industry is, you should take a look at how key trends are affecting your industry as a backdrop initially to, understand how you may want to move. So the other thing is you want to think about, what do you do best and most profitably? Because we're going to talk about strengths, personal and business. And at the end of the day, anytime you should be thinking about what you do best and most profitably, and look at outsourcing potentially things that are not part of what you do best and profitably. So because you really want to focus on your strengths. So definitely important way to go. So what are your personal strengths? How do you know what your personal strengths are? So if you can, type in the chat. If you know what some of your personal strengths are, type what they are. What was your strengths? Networking. Okay, very good. Thanks, April. Who else? What other personal strengths we got? Financial. Anyone's got strength on the financial or analytical side? Sales. People. Do you feel yourself sales? Okay, Kimberly. Self-starter. Okay, customer service, technology. Okay, yeah, understanding what your strengths are, because then you can think about where you position things. So thanks, Tanisha. Educational qualifications, definitely for credibility and capability. Okay, organization and admin, very important. But looking at your strengths, what are you good at and how can you leverage that for your business? Management. Okay, Ralph. Great. Setting trends. All right. So, Angela, what business are you in, Angela, in terms of setting trends? Okay. Communications, people, leadership. Okay, Cleon. Actually, leadership, I always say the key to, leadership is the key to successful small business, because business is all about leadership, and leadership and being able to influence you both inside and outside of your organizations. Okay, customer service, Lola. So we're going to talk a little bit about personal strengths and how do you evaluate that and how do you understand it, because you got to start with the person in the mirror. You got to start with you in terms of your business, in terms of everything you do, because at the end of the day, you are your business and you're the brand for your business as a small business owner. So how many of you are familiar with the MBTI or Myers-Briggs? Just type yes in the chat if you are familiar, and no in the chat if you're not familiar. Nope. Okay, that's Anya. Okay, okay, Lola. Okay, so we've got some yeses, a couple no's as well. Yes, okay, so it's looking like almost 50-50. Anyone else? Okay, so one of the historic and key ways that a lot of people have successfully learned about themselves is through Myers-Briggs, which is a personality assessment. It helps you, understand yourself, your personality, but also it can help you to understand others too, and how best you can interact and influence people. So Myers-Briggs is key, and we're just going to show you a quick video about what it is and how it works. So let's take a look at that. Okay. And let me share. One. Share sound. Video. Here we go.
Hello to Jill and Bill. They work together, but couldn't be any more different. See how they unwind after a long day. How they take in and express information, like giving directions.
Take Pine Street 0.6 miles, turn right on Chestnut Avenue, go 5 blocks north. It's the blue house on the left, number 1943. Here, let me write it down.
Go that way until you see the Stop and Shop, and then walk toward the ocean. You can't miss it.
How they make important decisions. How they organize things like vacation plans. How they sometimes don't get along. But why is this? Perhaps the Myers-Briggs Personality Framework can provide answers. The Myers-Briggs Type Indicator Assessment is an effective way to assess your innate personality type preferences. Knowing your preferences can better equip you in making decisions, communicating with others, and so much more. For example, some people gain energy by interacting with others, while some recharge through quiet reflection alone. Some people take a detail-oriented approach to information, while others are drawn to the big picture. Some folks take an analytical approach to decision-making, while others focus on how their decisions will impact others. And some people prefer to make and stick to plans, while others take a less structured approach, keeping their options open. All you have to do is take a brief assessment to identify your preferences and determine your 4-letter personality type. Rest assured, it is not a test. There's no such thing as a right or wrong type, and it can't predict the future. But the Myers-Briggs assessment can provide you with a better understanding of yourself and those around you, at work, at home, and anywhere else you may go in life. It's never a bad time to work on your personal development, so get started today.
Okay. Okay, so that's a little bit about the Myers-Briggs assessment. So, one important way that you can learn. Okay, so the video share didn't work. Were you still looking at the other screen? Okay. All right, it worked. Okay, it didn't work. It worked. Okay, well, I've got another video, so we'll see if we can make it work this time. So, in the Myers-Briggs, they've got different personality types. So they went through it pretty quick, but really what it's about is you get 4 different categories, and you get one of 2 letters that associates you with the category, or the category that best fits you based on the test. Like they said, that it is not, it's not, it's not a test where you could pass or fail. It's just a test to learn different things that could be helpful in what you're doing. So let's take a look at another video that will tell you a little bit more about Myers-Briggs and the different types, and a little bit of detail on that. So let's take a look real quick. And so we'll go back to screen 1. Okay, so can you guys see the video okay? All right, okay, great. So just type something in the chat if you have any issues, but let's take a look.
Friends, and suddenly people start talking about the 16 personalities, Myers-Briggs, MBTI. They start saying weird stuff like, I'm an INFJ, I'm an ENTP, and you're like, what? Are we supposed to just all act like everybody knows what this gobbledygook means? What do the letters mean? The 4 letters when people are talking about these personality types, I'm gonna explain it to you like you're 5. Okay, maybe not like you're 5, but maybe like a smart 10-year-old. The 4 letters that make up a personality type are just preferences. That's all, no big deal. It's how you observe the world and how you make decisions. Each Myers-Briggs personality type has 4 letters in it. Each of those letters has 2 options. That's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's 16. Boom. Honors pre-calculus in 11th grade, yo. The first letter, is I or E. That stands for introvert or extrovert. Easy enough, right? Well, don't get too comfortable because that's the easiest one. The next letter is S or N, which stands for sensing or intuition. I know, intuition starts with an I, but the symbol is N. It's confusing, but just roll with it. Sensing and intuition are the ways that we make observations of the world around us. Sensing is pretty easy. How do we observe the world with our 5 senses? What are the facts? What are the numbers? Intuition is about what are the patterns at work here? What are the higher level concepts? Everybody uses both sensing and intuition. You couldn't make yourself a ham sandwich for lunch without both. Could you? Maybe. But you do have a preference, at least 51% of the time, of one over the other. The third letter in the type is F or T, which stands for feeling and thinking, which are the 2 ways that we make decisions. Feeling is not so much emotion, but value. What value do I give something? Is it good or bad? Do I like it or not like it? Making a decision based on feeling is like, I'm gonna do this because I like it or because other people like it. Thinking, on the other hand, is logical, rational. Does it make sense? Does it work? Is it true? Making a decision with thinking is, I'm gonna do this because it just makes sense. It just works. We all do both every day, and the personality type isn't meant to put you in a box. It's just meant to say, a majority of the time, what do you prefer? The fourth letter is J or P. Do you prefer John or Paul as your favorite Beatle? Ha ha ha, just kidding. No, J versus P is really judging versus perceiving, and to be honest with you, this letter is like the least precise in its meaning, but let me try to give you a little bit of what it's going for. So the P and J stand for perceiving and judging. Perceiving meaning observations, judging meaning decisions. So when you have a P type, generally, when they're making decisions, they're looking at themselves first and foremost. What do I think is the right decision here? I'm gonna go with that. P-types also, when they're making observations, want to gather as many as possible. They don't want to limit it, and they don't really want to organize it either. The J-types, on the other hand, when they're making decisions, they want to look around and get a good cross-section of what everyone else thinks is the right decision to make here, and then they'll make it based off of that. When making observations, the J-types don't want to take in a crap ton of observations like the P-types. They want to limit it and just chew on a few choice observations for a while, organize them over and over, and this is why the J-types generally to the outside world can look a bit more organized, and the P-types can look like crazy, disorganized. Their life is a mess, but they're having fun. If this video helped you out, I'd love it if you gave it a thumbs up. Share this video with a friend if you care about your friends. Now, if you want to...
Okay, all right. Okay. So, that gives you a little bit of insight about the letters. Let me know if you like the video. Just type yes in the chat if you like the video. Guy who did the video, his name's Frank James, and he has done probably hundreds of videos on this stuff. So not only is it serious, but it can be fun. And it's self-exploration, self-understanding. So we've talked about the letters and personalities, but to really understand the personalities, it helps to be able to see them in action. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at one more video where we're going to look at not just the personalities, but we're going to look at behind the personalities. What does it look like when you see the personalities? Because you may see yourself based on your personalities, but you can also see examples and see others, and can better understand where others are coming from based on the MBTI. And also it can help you think about how you can interact with people more effectively. So we're going to check out one more video, and then we'll go from there. So let's take a look. Screen one. Okay, share. Okay, so we're gonna
learn a bit more about what the flavor.
Okay, so then we got one more video here, and it's about 16 personalities of bosses. So let's take a look.
Everybody, hello, I can't hear you. We're here Monday morning, 7:30. It's great, let's get to work. Karen, I saw you flip me off. Not professional. Technically, yes, you are following the company's dress code. However, you're wearing a spread collar. And I think a pointed collar would go much better with your square-shaped head. Buy, sell, buy. Wait a second, what am I even buying? I don't even know what that is, but give me 10,000 shares. You're telling me that hazing the interns is considered harassment, but it's a rite of passage. I still remember when I was an intern having to chug a pot of day-old Sanka as I stood outside in the snow in nothing but my underwear. It made me the man I am today. You guys have been working so hard, putting in the extra hours, giving it your all, working your buns off, that I've got a surprise for you. No, not a raise. A karaoke party! Judging from these projections, I'd be better off hiring monkeys from the zoo to do your jobs. But as you all are marginally more tidy than monkeys, your jobs are safe. For now. Brenda, I know you're going through a very difficult divorce right now, and I feel for you, but you still can't come into work with wine in your thermos. It's just not professional. Yes, even if it's white wine. For lunch, give me Chinese food, hot and spicy beef, extra spicy. Make sure they double bag it, because last time the grease seeped through the bag, got all over my desk, over a bunch of papers. I had to throw them out. They were probably important, but they had too much grease on them. Have to keep a tidy working environment. If things are a mess, you can't get anything done. Hold my calls, I'm out of the office for the afternoon. And possibly forever. Timmy, you've been doing a tremendous job. You're a wonderful person, really, the best, a terrific guy. You're fired. In order to make this a more uplifting workplace, I'm going to start using emojis on all of my company-wide memos. And actually, now that I think about it, tell payroll to put them on the pay stubs too. I foresee our profits skyrocketing in the next 20 years when we can finally fire all of our human employees and replace them with robots. Of course, there will probably be some robots' rights movement and we'll have to pay them too, but at least they won't get sick as often. If you could get me that report by the end of the day, that would be great. But don't rush, take your time. I don't want to inconvenience you. It's only 12 days late. You know, I like to think of us as a family here. A big dysfunctional family. Sometimes we fight, sometimes HR has to get involved. But in the end, we all make up because we desperately need the paycheck. Do you know what motivated me for 30 years to work my way up the corporate ladder and become CEO of this company? It was that private bathroom right there. Because if a man can take a dump at work in peace, you know he's made it. This company is easily the coolest place to work in North America. We have a full gym. We have a spa and a hot tub. We have a coffee bar. We have an actual bar with 14 craft beers on tap. We have an arcade. We have a wood-fired pizza oven. And we offer unlimited paid time off. Nothing ever gets done and we're hemorrhaging money, but we are cool. Can't get anything done if it's tidy. If it's not tidy, gosh, really? But you're fired. Why can't I get the words right?
Okay.
Crystal clear skin for more than a decade.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So, a few videos on the personality test. Anybody see themselves in any of these videos? So let me know. Type in the chat if you see yourselves or maybe see an old boss. But keep in mind, as a business owner, you become the boss. So how is your personality going to influence the type of boss you are or going to be? So okay, Ralph, the old person, and it also lets you know how different people and bosses can be and leaders. And not everybody thinks and looks in the world as the same thing. The old boss, okay, great. So so that's the first part. We wanted to talk a little bit about personal strengths. So now let's take a look. So we've got the personal strengths, MBTI. You can do research on it. You can test for free. There's free online tests, but I encourage you to check it out. You may learn some things or gain some insights from it. we've also got, when we look at it, there's also,
Good morning, everybody.
okay, there's also a DISC assessment. So another type of assessment similar to MBTI, but looks at a little different way and some different things in terms of, how dominant are you, as far as, what are your influences, how steady are you, and how conscientious. Definitely business owners tend to be a little bit more dominant. So that can be a challenge with some employees. So you got to keep that in mind. How do you influence and how are you influenced? How steady are you? A lot of business owners, because of their entrepreneurial, they have different ideas and different things and they get excited about them, but and can be emotional and energetic. But you also have to remember that, your employees and people you're working with may not, respond to things in the same way, but that doesn't mean they're not excited. And also, and then, conscientious, how analytical and different ways that you look at yourself. So the DISC assessments are something else that you can do just to learn more about it, because the more you know about yourself, the better leader you can become. So, talking about, your strengths on the business side or on the personal side. So now we're going to look at your strengths on the business side. How do you identify what your strengths are on the business side so that you match those business strengths and your personal strengths in a way that it allows you to really figure out how you can look at different revenue opportunities based on the trends that are out there. So let's take a look at the business strengths. Okay, so let's see. We've got, one way that we look at business strengths is what we call the SWOT analysis. Many of you have probably heard of that, and definitely that's an important way that you can look at your business, looking at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. In this case, you probably want to look at the focus on the strengths and opportunities more so, and sort of go from there. But what do you do well? What are your goals and opportunities? As well, we can take a quick look at a video that tells you a little bit about what the SWOT analysis is all about. So let's see.
Hi, and welcome.
One sec, let me just make sure I've got these checked. Okay, let's go.
Back. We know strategy analysis has two main branches: analysis of a firm's external environment and analysis of a firm's internal environment. In our previous lessons, we learned how to analyze the internal and external environment of a firm. SWOT is a famous framework that allows us to combine the two types of analysis. SWOT is sometimes referred to as an internal-external analysis. The acronym SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and...
Okay, actually, I think I'm not. Are you seeing the screen? Probably not. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, let's try this again. All right, sorry about that.
Analysis has two main branches: analysis of a firm's external environment and analysis of a firm's internal environment. In our previous lessons, we learned how to analyze the internal and external environment of a firm. SWOT is a famous framework that allows us to combine the two types of analysis. SWOT is sometimes referred to as an internal-external analysis. The acronym SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The first two, strengths and weaknesses, are related to a firm's internal environment, while the last two, opportunities and threats, consider its external environment. We can use a SWOT analysis when analyzing industries, companies, products, new initiatives, policies, or even people. It is a simple and useful framework that allows us to group and visualize strengths and weaknesses, and to identify potential threats and opportunities that exist in the external environment. In addition, the SWOT framework could be useful when you want to understand the areas in which your firm performs well and the ones that need improvement. The 4 elements of SWOT analysis are usually placed in a table which looks something like this. Internal strengths and external opportunities are vertically paired as helpful elements, while internal weaknesses and external threats are paired as harmful elements. Right, so if we perform a company analysis under strengths, we would expect to see its core competences, the areas where the business excels and has a competitive advantage over competitors. An example of a firm's strength could be its strong brand recognition. Weaknesses are areas that need improvement. Such vulnerabilities place a company at a disadvantage when competing against other firms. Usually, the disadvantage results from other companies having a competitive advantage. An example of a weakness is higher cost structure. Opportunities can be seen as favorable factors existing in a company's external environment, in the industry where it operates, and have the potential to improve its current results and competitive positioning. Taking advantage of opportunities depends on how skilled a company's top management team is. To take advantage of an opportunity, the management must be able to recognize opportunities when they arise, and then act accordingly when the time is right. An example of an opportunity is the advent of a new technology the company can exploit to expand its product offering. The last of the 4 elements of SWOT analysis is threats. Threats arise in a company's external environment and might harm its current business. But if you can identify a threat, you can lessen its impact by taking precautions. An example of a threat is the entry of a strong competitor with access to advanced technology. This is a great overview of the SWOT framework. In our next lesson, we'll conclude the strategy module.
Okay. So that gives you a little bit of a feel for what the SWOT analysis is. So let's take a look from there. We've got also another way to analyze and look at your business and look at opportunities and understand your strengths is the 5 forces analysis. They call it Porter's 5 forces analysis. How many of you, just in the chat, just to get a feel, if you are familiar with the 5 forces, just type 5 forces in the chat. And if you're also familiar with SWOT, type SWOT in the chat. So either type SWOT or type 5 forces or type or type neither in the chat. So if you could do that real quick, that would be great. And that'll just give a good feel for sort of where you are on each of those. Okay. So let's see what we got. So yeah, just type SWOT or 5 forces. And we'll go from there. Okay, so the 5 forces, you're looking at basically, your industry. How competitive is your industry? How easy is it for competitors to come into your industry? Is there a barrier to entry or high barriers to entry, or is it real easy and anybody can come into your industry? Where you are, do your customers have more bargaining power than you? Can they help? Can they give pushback on pricing and other things? Or do you have more power than them and they sort of have to bargain at a disadvantage with you? Same thing for your suppliers. Do your suppliers have the strength, the power, or do you? And what is the threat of substitutes? There's a lot of different types of competition. You can have direct head-to-head competition, like McDonald's versus Wendy's. You can have also indirect competition or substitutes like McDonald's versus Kentucky Fried. You know, depending on, you know, if you're hungry, you may choose one or the other. So, you know, you can have head to head, you could have indirect competition. So, you know, looking at these forces can give you an idea of, you know, where your business stands, where are the opportunities, and, you know, things that you may want to stay away from. So that's the 5 forces analysis. And really, when you look at the opportunities, it's where your key trends line up with your personal strengths and your business strengths. And that's where the revenue opportunities are that you should be seeking. So that's key. So that's, you know, really one of the most important things I wanted to make sure that we covered in here. So any questions so far? Anything that you know, you want to ask about? You know, if you're good, let me know. You know, just type I'm good or ready to move on to the next thing. So definitely ready to move on. Okay, Susan. Okay, ready to move on. Ready? Okay, you're good. April, Tanisha. Okay, cool. So, all right, so then let's take a look at what's next. So what do we have next? We've got, you know, looking at next, we have looking at preparing your business for growth. You know, what do you need to do to prepare to grow? Because it's one thing to, you know where you're going to grow your revenue, but you also have to be prepared to actually do it. Prepared to do it by prepared to being able to get potential customers, and also be prepared by being able to deliver on sales that you make to customers. So, you know, we have a little bit of a checklist on how you can do that. So really, when you're looking at growth, there's 4 things that you need to put in place, or 4 building blocks, or structure. You know, that's the structure that you want to have. You know, the first thing is planning. Failing to plan is planning to fail. So, you know, really want to start with a plan for your business and what you're trying to do. The second piece is marketing. You know, marketing and sales is your most important job as a business owner, and you really have to have your marketing and sales apparatus to be able to grow. You're going to have to be able to market and sell. So there's certain things that you want to have in place to be able to do that more effectively. You know, once you market and sell your products, you have to have the capacity to deliver upon them. So what is your capacity? How much room do you have before, and what are your constraints? And, you know, if you know your constraints, how do you overcome them? And then tracking. You have to keep track and measure how you're doing versus your plan. You know, in anything, you can't improve anything if you can't measure it. So, you know, really looking at those 4 things, you know, planning, marketing, capacity, and tracking, and understanding that, you know, within those, what do you need to be able to do to successfully do them so you can grow your business? Okay, so let's take a look at planning. You know, the first thing is, you know, planning. There's a lot of things that go into planning. Your business plan, your marketing plan, you know, many different things. So, you know, you've got business planning, looking at different ways. The second thing is marketing plan. You know, what is your plan for marketing your business? Laying out your strategy and your plan. And, you know, it needs to be something that you're involved in doing. That's not something you can outsource and work with other people on it, but it has to be your plan. And it has to be, you have to understand the marketing and make sure that that works for the market that you're going after. So, so we've got the planning, we've got marketing. Next, capacity. What is capacity? It's being able to have the ability to deliver on sales. So, if you're going to if you're going to double your sales, that means you may have to double your inventory. Do you have enough capital to be able to double your inventory? If you're going to double your sales of a service, do you have enough people to be able to deliver that service? And if not, what would it take for you to have enough? Do you have to make an investment? Or can you just increase your capacity easily? So thinking about, okay, if I increase my sales by 20%, can I do that now? Or if not, what do I need to do to be able to handle a 20% increase in sales? And then tracking. You need to have a plan for what you're doing and how to move forward. And then you need to see how you're doing versus a plan, because then that will tell you if your plan is working and if and when you need to make adjustments. We talked earlier about the 3 key things that you need to do to be successful. And the first one is being proactive, having a plan and a strategy. The second thing is being creative, figuring out how to best solve the problems and being flexible. But if you don't track, then you can't measure how well things are going and how things are progressing. And you can't, with tracking, you can see things and challenges and opportunities before they even happen. So you can avoid problems and you can take advantage of opportunities if you see that what you're working is working really well. So tracking is very important in everything you do, but even more important now because, it's a very dynamic environment and, things can be changing for your business without really being able to fully see it, without having numbers and being able to measure it. So that's really what building capacity is all about. So, we talked about, first recognizing new trends, looking at what's going on, talking about, are they permanent trends? Are they temporary trends? We talked about opportunities, and opportunities are based on your strengths, both personal and business. And we talked about ways to improve or understand your strengths better. And at the end of the day, the real opportunity comes when you match up your personal strengths and business strengths with a trend or trends that they match up well to be able to deliver the product and service that provides the solution that your customers need. So hopefully that gives you a feel for about how to how to increase your revenue and grow your business. So let's take a look. So hopefully covered some some key things for you, and had a good presentation. But now I want to open up for questions. Definitely we covered a lot of material. Couldn't cover it in the full detail that it deserves, but it could take 20 hours to really do it fully. So definitely, if anybody has any questions, great. Okay, where can you take a SWOT test? Okay, John. Actually, a SWOT test is not really a test. It's really an assessment. So you actually have to do the SWOT analysis on your business. But you can there's a lot of great information and materials on it online. But what you're doing is actually you're filling in those 4 boxes based on your situation. So that's really where and how you do the SWOT test. Great. Okay, so now we've got, as a startup, you look to be flexible and you can engage other businesses to help them increase sales. what industry should I consider? Okay. Well, it would help to know a little bit more about it. So let's take a look. Okay. So before you choose your industry, you really want to look at, okay, well, what are my strengths? What is my business strengths? What are my personal strengths? And what's going on in terms of trends? Where can I provide the best solution? So, I guess we had a comment about the massage industry is booming. Okay, well, what's the best way for you to do massage business? Okay, or do you could do it by renting a storefront. You could do that by being mobile and going to people's homes. You could do that by getting a a room in a chiropractor's office. So there's a lot of different ways you can do that business, but which way works to your strengths. Okay, if it's just you may be better off doing something more individual, because there's a lot of massage places out there already that that have a storefront, and a big location. So some massage is done through, what are they called, spas or whatever. So thinking about and looking at, where can I be most competitive based on where the type of business, what the competition is, and everything else. So okay, so business service. So what type of service? So are you doing servicing? You engage other business owners to increase their sales. Okay, so what industry do you understand? What industry do you know? Because that's one of your strengths. If you know the construction industry and how it works, then you could most likely do a better job increasing their people's sales in that business versus others. But then you also have to look at the trends. Are the trends leading towards there being opportunities there in terms of growth in that industry? So by seeking other business, what type? Um, you have to going back to just what is a good product, what makes a good service. At the end of the day, a good product or service provides the solution to a need, want, or desire. But then the other side is, what is your value proposition? Why should they choose you versus someone else? If you have industry knowledge, then it's not just the service you provide, but it's that you have industry knowledge and understanding as well, and you can communicate better with the business and their customers. So where do your strengths fit in terms of that? So it's not just about what's industry's hot, even though you can look at that too as a trend, but it has to be a fit where you can deliver the solution that is needed for that trend. So hopefully that's helpful. I can't give you an exact answer, but that's one of the reasons why SBDC allows you to do individual counseling, because then you can sit down and really look at it for exactly where you are, understand your strengths a little bit better, and understand the opportunities a little better. So thank you for your question. Okay, Sonia, let's see. I need advice on how to go about hiring staff once you determine you have more work than you can handle. Okay, and the home improvement. Okay, great. So masonry, okay, not a lot. That's a great skill and ability to do, because so one of the things you've got to do is in New Jersey, it's very difficult to hire people these days. I work with a lot of manufacturing companies, and they can, it's very difficult for them to find employees for a number of reasons. And I'm sure in that business too. Masonry is a skill that not a lot of people have. And, one thing is you got to figure out kind of how much it's going to cost you, but also you want to find good people. And, depending on your connections in the industry, you can do different recruiting. We can talk more about that on a case-by-case basis, but recruiting's not easy. And not only that, there's a certain things that you have to do as part of the process. And you really want to make it a process rather than just an interview and saying you're hired. You want to have a job description or be able to communicate what the expectations and what the role includes to someone. You want to have an onboarding program. You can't just say, okay, you're hired, go over there and lay some bricks. You have, you need to have them, understand what your company's all about, understand who they be working with, understand how you do business. And if they need training, have that set up, maybe even have a buddy or a mentor system so that when they come in, they can know somebody and someone's also is responsible for their success with the company. You can look at temp agencies. Definitely if you need someone immediately, but even a lot of temp agencies are having trouble finding people. And, I'm sure masonry is one of the areas that it can be difficult because, now that it's spring and summer, a lot of people want construction. There's a lot of people busy. So I would look everywhere. You could look at temps, referrals from other people and other businesses, but definitely want to get started on that sooner rather than later. Okay, great question. Any other questions?
We do have a hand raised.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if Charles would like to unmute himself and ask his question, or feel free to type it out in the chat or Q&A feature, Charles.
Okay.
Okay.
So no, definitely, if you have a question, feel free to throw in the chat or unmute. Definitely, it's been good. Spend a little time with you talking about, ways to really grow your business and grow your revenues in the current environment. So looking at the market, looking at the trends, looking at the strengths of you and your business, and then also looking at making sure that you're prepared to be able to do that. I guess we're going to take a little break, but also going to have another webinar, I guess, at 3, and I'll be doing that one as well. And we just talked about increasing your revenue. The next one, we're going to talk about how to be more profitable and make your business more profitable. So hopefully, if you're interested, feel free to join in, and I'm sure that you can learn a little bit more about it. Okay, April, tell me what your question is.
Actually, I think it may be more suitable to ask it in the next webinar.
Okay, well, we're here and we got time.
Well, no, it was about growing businesses. It was about growing a business and whether it's better to, if you have the money to do so, is it better to start one business in one location, or should you, if you can start the same business in 2 different locations, like bi-coastal, would you recommend that, or would you recommend seeing how one business fares before you start another?
Okay.
Before you start another location, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
What's it called? What's the name for that? I can't remember the name for that term that I'm trying.
Like multi-business, multi-unit owner or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
But I always say that it's key to focus your energies as much as possible, especially when you're starting out. And then as you experience success and get to a certain point, then you can widen your focus. So I would say definitely do one location initially, because you're going to learn things as you open the location. And, your goal should be to really, make sure, find the market, make sure there's a market, make sure people are willing to pay for what you have, make sure you have the right products and services. And, beyond that, you want to make sure your business model is right. And, we'll be talking more about the profitability and your business model in the next one, and sort of create it like a franchise so that you already have the map of how it works and it's worked. And then you just take that and implement it in additional locations so you can get them up and running quickly rather than trying to do two things at once. Think about, if you went to college, like freshman year, I remember having people saying, yeah, I'm going to triple major. But after you graduate from college, you're like, triple major really doesn't matter that much. It's probably a bad strategy. So, focusing on one and really figuring it out before you try and grow is key.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. Taco, you want to take the next question on how do you get a personal consultation?
Yes, so Lola, we do only service those in Essex County, but I will post in the chat our website in a few minutes, but feel free you can request counseling on our website and we will just transfer you to your local SBDC office as well.
Question, guys. Are you guys going to share the slides?
Yes, so within 48 to 72 business hours, the slides will be sent over to you as well as the video replay. Okay, great. So at this time, I want to thank you, Andrew, for taking the time out to present today. Okay. I'm going to share my screen just so that we have the contact information on there. Okay, so on the screen now, you should see our name there, our email address, as well as our website where you can request one-on-one consultation there with any of our consultants. So again, if you're interested in the one-on-one consultation as the post-webinar appointment with Andrew, feel free to raise your hand. I see there's 4 hands here. Okay, great. At this time, I would like to direct you all to the chat. I'm going to post some of our upcoming webinars as well as our website. Okay, hopefully everyone is seeing that now. So on the top of that message I just put in the chat, I have our website where you can directly request counseling. Again, if you're not in Essex County, feel free to still fill out that form and we will transfer you to your local SBDC office. And we do have a list of the upcoming webinars. As Andrew stated, we do have the Optimizing Your Business Model to Improve Profitability directly after this one at 3 p.m. So feel free to register for that one. And we do have a few more webinars in the next coming weeks as well. And at the bottom of that chat, I have our link to our Eventbrite page, as well as our website where you can register for our webinars, workshops, and training events. And these are only a handful of the webinars we are hosting this year. I believe we do have about 150 different webinars and topics ranging from finances, marketing, e-commerce, credit counseling, cybersecurity, and so much more. So please feel free to visit our Eventbrite page or our website to find a webinar that fits your business needs. After this webinar in the browser, you will see a survey pop up. That survey will help us to adjust our presentations as well as give us some information on the type of assistance you are needing for your business. So if you have time to complete that, your feedback is much appreciated. On that note, we will now end the webinar. I want to thank you again, Andrew, for sharing your expertise with us. And thank you to all of our attendees for taking the time out to attend, ask your questions, and participate in today's webinars. And we look forward to seeing you all at our future webinars. Have a great day, everyone.